Joined now by Appalachian State head coach Shawn Clark, entering his second full year at the helm of the Mountaineers. Because of COVID last year, we didn't get a chance to meet or visit with you, so it's good to sit down. And what's your first media day been like so far?
It's been great. I had a chance to get around all the coaches and hang out for a couple hours with them last night. And we have a really good group of coaches in this conference.
Yeah.
And I'm probably more familiar with the guys in the East, with Coach Lunsford and Coach Elliott and Coach Lindsay from Troy. But a bunch of good guys, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
9 wins last year. You're 10-3 since taking over the bowl game the year before when Coach Drinkowitz went to Missouri. Somebody that played at App and somebody that's been at App back since 2016. Why have you been so well positioned to improve on this culture?
Well, I think it goes back to when Jerry Moore was the head football coach here. It's 30-some years ago, and just what he instilled in us as players, we've continued to do that as coaches. And it goes back to Scott Satterfield when he was the head coach, and Drink was here for a year, and actually Drink kind of bought into that culture.
Yeah.
And it's my job to carry the legacy of it. And just like Georgia Southern, there's a lot of tradition there, and that's what makes the game against Georgia Southern such a great rivalry. I just think that's the best game in college football as a player and a coach. And, so much respect, and our fan base loves it, but it's just a great atmosphere.
Being so entrenched in Appalachian State for so long, what does the rivalry with Georgia Southern and Appalachian State really mean to you?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's one of those – that is the Alabama-Auburn, the Georgia-Florida. And when you were a player – and that was the game you wanted. I mean, even back in the early 90s, we had Marshall in our conference, and that was a big rivalry game. But just that game, I mean, it's just the atmosphere. It doesn't matter if you're playing in Boone, if you're playing in Statesboro. It's just a great college atmosphere, and I'm very happy it's back on a Saturday now, even though it is Thanksgiving weekend. But I think that game should be on a Saturday, the last game of the season every year, because usually that game means something. Yeah. And whoever wins that game usually has the road to the championship game, and that's what makes it so special.
You guys, since making the transition, look, it was a rough start in 14, going 1-5, but ever since then, 69-15 over the last 84 games. You're 6-0 in bowls. Nobody has ever done that, making the transition from FCS to FBS. How has it been so seamless?
Well, I think it goes back to the players you recruit and getting our kind of guys. I mean, this from being in Boone. Not everyone fits in Boone. It's a different taste, if you will. To get the right kind of players. And I give Scott a lot of credit when he first got in, that he kind of went back to the bread and butter of what got him there. And we're not very complicated on offense or defense. We just try to get the right kind of players and play sound football. And if you can run the football and play great defense and win special teams, you have a chance to win.
We were up there in 17. You still had Owens Fieldhouse. We were up there in 19. It had all been torn down. You were in the process of building the North End Zone facility. We go up there this year on November 27th to end the season. We're going to see this extremely elaborate facility that you guys seem to take a lot of pride in.
We do, and it's changed the game for us. Anytime, if you're not building in college football, you're getting left behind.
Yeah.
Especially in this conference now. Every team is about the same. But, it's a $50 million complex in our North End Zone, and it's everything state-of-the-art facilities. We're very proud of that. The one thing we are probably more proud than others is we have our own orthopedic surgeon in our building. And that will also be for not only for our student athletes, but for our students in the community in the town of Boone. But we talk about student welfare. And if you have your orthopedic surgeon and general practitioner in your building on a daily basis, then that's a great selling point to parents that will make sure to take care of your kid.
Getting into some of the specific personnel, look, everybody in this league has so many guys coming back. I think the fewest number of starters a team has coming back this year is 16, which is unheard of. But there is a noticeable absence on your offense with Zach Thomas finally finishing up his eligibility. Enter Chase Price, who transfers from Duke after a bit of a tumultuous 2020 season, but reading some of the reports, it seems like he's really taken hold of the offense. Another offensive coordinator as well, bringing Frank Ponce back to call the plays.
Yeah, again, and this. When Zach, we weren't sure if Zach will come back or not.
Yeah.
And we really found after the bowl game, literally on the bus ride home, he put it out on social media that he was not going to come back and take his chances in the National Football League. And we supported Zach. Since I've been there, we've had 2 quarterbacks, Tevin Lamb and Zach Thomas.
Yeah.
And that's 7 years.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and we had to go find a quarterback. And with the COVID protocols, we weren't able to go out and bring someone on campus to actually sit down in person and talk to them. So we did Zooms. We were on FaceTimes with many quarterbacks. And Chase just fit what we thought was the app guy. I mean, he has something to prove, and he's playing some big-time games at Clemson. He came out and led Clemson to beat Syracuse down at the Death Valley. And then,
ironically, that was right after Georgia Southern had gone there. We saw him at the end of that game that year.
Right,
yeah.
and and he didn't have a great year this past year at Duke. And I mean, there's all kinds of factors involved. As talking to him, they didn't even have a position meeting in person until Thursday of their first game. And to watch him come here, he's really changed his body. He's buying into what we're selling, and our players look up to him. So probably by practice 9 in spring practice, he really got a hold of the offense and start understanding it. And by practice 13, he was lights out. And he has a power 5 arm, strong arm. Doesn't run as good as Zach, but he can run well enough to get a first down.
He gets the benefit of, and this absolutely blew me away. You've got 99% of your receiving yards back from last year, plus Corey Sutton, who opted out of 2020. He's back, somebody who would have been a first-team preseason all-wide receiver had he been on the ballot. But just to note that kind of stability and that kind of production returns to help out a guy that's going to get used to Boone for the first time.
Yeah, that's 99% production. That's a lot of production.
That's serious.
And through spring practice, there's 9 or 10 guys that can be starters in our conference on our football team. And then also you have to include the running backs and tight ends. How do you get the ball to these guys?
Yeah.
And the funny thing down here at Sunbelt Media Day is no one's talking about Corey Sutton, which is a good thing.
He just gets lost.
He got lost. And, you said Thomas Hennig will have the all-time reception record this year.
Yeah.
Corey Sutton will have a chance to be the all-time touchdown reception leader in App State history. Then you throw in Malik Williams, who just kind of a quiet guy who catches 6 balls a game, and Thomas Hennigan and Jalen Virgil is a world-class sprinter. But, our young guys are who I'm more excited about, Christian Horn, Christian Wells, and those guys will really come in and give us a shot in the arm in our offense. But we have some weapons outside. We're still going to run the football, but we have to make sure we get that ball down the field somewhere.
When you guys came to Statesboro at the end of last season, getting a chance to watch Cam Peebles for the first time, I thought he was a physical specimen then, and that was watching him from the press box. I was about 5 feet away from him earlier today. He is one of the more put-together running backs I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's around 6'2", 210, 215 pounds right now. He reminds me of watching Eric Dickerson back in the day, of how he ran the football, kind of stands straight up a little bit.
Yeah.
He has his speed is very deceptive in some ways. He runs away from people. He'll be our workhorse in the backfield. And people forget about Nate Noel, who's a guy who had a big game in Statesboro down there and
broke the game open.
And then we had Jameer Smith from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And if he plays football the way he lifts weights, then we have another stable of running backs. So it's one of those things, hey, how do you get the ball to your playmakers?
We've spent the whole time talking about offense, but defensively you led the league in scoring defense last year. You got 10 starters back. I know there were some injuries during the offseason, but a lot of strength up front with Demetrius Taylor, and I really like the linebackers with Cobb and Jackson.
Yeah, I think Demetrius Taylor, his resume speaks for itself. I mean, again, he's a guy that was in COVID protocol and in quarantine for about 40 days last summer. So he gained some weight, didn't have the season he wanted. He could have came out this year and probably been a free agent, but came back and tried to get his draft stock up. Another guy people don't talk about is Caleb Sperling. He's 5'9", 230 pounds, and everyone laughs at him. But he makes plays, and he's just that kind of guy. And at nose guard, Jordan Earl, he's a guy that no one talks about, doesn't make a lot of plays, but blocks, just like your defense at Georgia Southern, it's a 3-4 defense. He really stuffs the hole up. And DeMarco Jackson at linebacker, they're all back. Trey Cobb, Brandon Harrington, who's our outside backer, and we have Shawn Jolly also at corners, play a lot of football.
Yeah, the one starter not back, Shamar Jean-Charles. He's a 5th-round pick of the Packers. I was going to get to Jolly, somebody that was a first-team All-American as well. Maybe the best combo of corners in the country last year, but it seems like Jolly could be even better this year.
He did. Shawn Jolly, he had a breakout season as a sophomore, and this past year as a junior, a lot of teams were throwing at Shamar, and Shamar was in the right place at the right time. And to me, you talk about our kind of players, it's Shamar Jean-Charles, a guy who was not heavily recruited, and he comes in and works his way. It's not a red shirts, doesn't play much as a freshman. His sophomore year plays a little bit here, starts as a junior, then his 5th year he has a breakout season. But I think it just goes to the work ethic he has and what our program's about.
What's been the biggest thing we've talked about it this entire time of being so entrenched in what Appalachian State is? What was the biggest challenge of taking over as the head coach?
Well, don't mess it up.
At least you're honest.
Hey, I've just been honest with you. He said, Scott had a great run here as a head football coach and a former player. Drink comes in and goes 12-1. We win the conference, and then, I was the 3rd head coach in 3 years, and our program, like any other program, the turnover. If you keep having turnover, you're going to start declining your production.
Yeah.
And we finally got some stability here, but my biggest thing was how can we take this program to another level, and that's hard. And you guys know this from your fan base. There's high expectations in Statesboro. There's high expectations in Boone. 9-3 anywhere in the country would be a great season. In Boone, they want to ask you what's wrong, and so. But we have to get back going and just. But again, I'm very proud of where I am as the head football coach here. It means something to me to be the head coach where I played, and hopefully I get a chance to be here for a long time.
This has been talked about before, but you and Coastal co-favorites to win the East in 2021. But you can make an argument for anybody else in the division. Georgia State's much improved. Troy should have its best team under Chip Lindsey, and Georgia Southern is always a threat. Appalachian State, they know that better than anybody in this league. I think it could be a wide-open East this year.
I believe so, too. Anybody can beat anyone. If you turn the football over and don't play great defense, you're going to get beat. And it doesn't matter who you're playing, what your record is. Our conference is very tough. And, a lot of these coaches on the eastern side of our division are very familiar with each other, and we know more about how they do things. But again, it's going to be a great season. I'm excited to get started. I hope just COVID stays away and we get this thing rolling.
Well, we know Georgia Southern has good history in New Orleans. App State has some pretty good history in New Orleans as well.
Yeah, it's been a great time. I tell you, I've really had an exciting time getting to meet Chad and talk to him. Just the Georgia Southern faithful should be very proud of what they have down there.
Yeah,
because he does bleed Eagle pride, whatever you want to call it down there. But man, he's a great person. He's right for that program.
Second straight year, it will end the regular season. This time it's in Boone. I'm sure it'll be a little cold. We'll deal with it. November the 27th up at Kid Brewer Stadium, Georgia Southern, Appalachian State. Coach, we appreciate the time. Good to finally meet you. We'll catch up with you soon.
Well, it can't be any colder than it was in 2019.
No chance. Well, we'll see.
I've been there and played there for 5 years, coached there for the last 6. That was the coldest I've ever been in my life. So hopefully it's not that cold. But, man, appreciate you guys having me on and look forward to seeing you in Boone.
Thanks, Shawn.